Welcome to Be Wise, information about cannabis for older adults. Brought to you by Active Aging Canada, a national charity that supports older adults living well and remaining active. Production for this podcast was made possible through a financial contribution from Health Canada's Substance Use and Addictions Program. Now, let's go to the Active Aging Canada studios and join National Executive Director Patty Clark and Ward Maxwell, Director of Marketing and Communications. Today, guidelines for cannabis dosing and your health conditions.
There's very little research on cannabis for older adults, as we've been saying in our previous podcasts. So there are no formal rules for dosing or choosing formulations, which are ways to take cannabis. Right now, the best advice on finding out how your body reacts to cannabis is to start low and go slow, something we've been saying throughout our podcasts. Another suggestion is if you are trying it for the first time, take your dose in the evening or at night, and that will help to limit problems with any side effects. And begin with just one dose a day. This is so that you can assess how long the effects last. You will want to make sure you avoid the double dosing, as you might lead to bad side effects. And please remember, our discussions here today are intended for information only. It is not intended to offer medical advice or be interpreted or used as a standard of medical practice.
Here are some guidelines on starting dosages for recreational use of cannabis. And this would be strictly products with higher amounts of THC. A starting dose of THC is 2.5 milligrams once per day, but this could start as low as 1.25 milligrams for older adults, especially people who have no experience with cannabis. This dose can increase by 1.25 milligram to 2.5 milligrams until you get the desired effect. We'd like to warn you, doses over 25 to 30 milligrams of THC a day increase the risk of bad side effects. Oral THC preparations are usually easier to judge than inhaled products. That is because the producer can be more precise about the concentrations. If you use a product that you inhale, like a joint, called a pre-roll, or a vaping device, the starting dose is 1 inhale of a product with 9% maximum THC once a day. This can be increased to 1 inhale 4 times a day. 4 times a day would result in about half a joint a day, or 400 milligrams of THC. The amount of THC you absorb by inhaling is around 25% of the total THC in a joint. But this absorption is affected by how long you hold your breath after inhaling and how many puffs you take.
Let's talk now about guidelines on starting dosages for therapeutic use, specifically edible oil products with a high CBD and low THC. We know that CBD is generally well tolerated even at higher doses. The starting dose of CBD is often listed as 5 milligrams once a day. For example, a CBD chewable often equals 5 milligrams of CBD, and a soft gel may have 5 milligrams or 0.25 milliliters of cannabis oil. So how much you take and whether you increase the dosage depends on your conditions and the health reasons for taking CBD.
With CBD oil, start with a low dose of 0.1 milliliters of oil, or that would be 2 milligrams of CBD with maybe 1.5 milligrams of THC or less, or none, once a day. Now I'm going to clarify that again. You can take CBD oil, 0.1 milliliters, and that may have some THC with it or not. And you can take that once a day and increase that slowly if you need to. You can increase the dose by 0.1 milliliter every day or every other day until you achieve your desired effect for your symptoms. Oil products from licensed producers often include a syringe that you use to measure the oil you are taking. This allows you to increase the dose in 0.1 milliliter increments if required. Once you've found a dose that works for you in an oil product, you will likely not need to increase your dosage. Usually, you will not develop a tolerance to the benefits. That means you will not need to take more and more. Well, that's the end of our podcast series, Be Wise, Cannabis and Older Adults. Be sure to go to activeagingcanada.ca to find out more about our cannabis project and all the other information we have for older adults, including exercise tips, diet, and how to stay active.
And on behalf of Active Aging Canada, both Ward and I would like to thank you for listening to our podcasts. We hope that you have found them informative and that we have answered any questions you may have had about cannabis in older adults. Our Be Wise resource is only meant to be a guide, to provide you with the scientific evidence that is available to us today in a simple to understand format and that you can use when speaking to your healthcare professional. As Ward has mentioned, please visit our website at activeagingcanada.ca to order your free Be Wise booklet in your choice of 16 languages, and it is also available in Braille. And on that note, we would like to remind you to stay active, stay informed, and age well. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks, Patty.
Thanks, Ward.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. For more information, go to activeagingcanada.ca, where you can order a copy of our Be Wise booklet. It's available in 17 languages and is free. The views expressed in this podcast do not necessarily represent the views of Health Canada's Substance Use and Addictions Program. And remember to be active, be healthy, and be wise.